Warning: this show is intended for mature audiences only. Viewers' discretion is advised. This show may contain strong language and sensitive or controversial topics. We are not attorneys and are not providing legal advice. The views and conversations are our own thoughts and feelings, and therefore, purely speculation.
The entertainment world and beyond.
Skywalker air miles, feeding on a service, gliding on water, constricted and conflicted.
Welcome to Purely Speculation, a show that exposes the harmful effects of the criminal legal system. I'm your host, Heather Lewis, the Executive Director of the Reuniting Family Bail Fund and practitioner of participatory defense. On this show, you learn about the unspoken horrors of the criminal justice system and meet fierce allies and advocates. We will make the best of our traumatic experiences. We will get angry. We may even cry. We most certainly going to laugh, but one thing's for sure, we're going to keep it real. Welcome to Purely Speculation.
When they free my sins and let them loose, they was killing me, I got a scar to prove, got me paralyzed, I could even barely move. Out the way I took the pain again.
Hello. Good evening, folks. Tonight on this edition of Purely Speculation, it is dedicated to the women who have been incarcerated. As the stat says, on any given day in the USA, there are an average approximately 250 women and girls in jails and prisons here. And we are here tonight to talk to you about the impact of the criminal legal system and incarceration of women. And you may have been expecting our fabulous Reverend Dr. Michelle Simmons, but she is out of the country and living her best life. So we have another rock star, Jasimane Ransom. She's the owner and operator of Loc'd and Loaded, and a formerly incarcerated woman and mother. And we have her on tonight to talk about her journey through incarceration from trauma to triumph. And so we have Jasimane here. Jasimane, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us tonight and sharing your story with us.
Thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely. And so tell us your journey. Tell us, because when we were kind of debriefing, your journey, you said, started in Philadelphia and then in Atlanta as well. So can you tell us a little bit about your story, what kind of either led you up to being incarcerated in Philly and or Atlanta, and the journey through that system on the other side?
Well, my mom, she moved us to Atlanta in my 10th grade year, high school. So, everybody wanted me grown. When I graduated, I came back to Philly and, just was doing what I wanted to do. And I kind of was ping-ponging back and forth between Philly, Atlanta, until I had my oldest daughter. And it came a time where, I was staying with a family relative, and a situation came about where it just landed me to act on anger and just totally, lose control, and that lost me my freedom. So fast forward, was incarcerated in State Road, came home, they sentenced me just to, probation, time served. And I had a probation officer here in Philly, and I told him, that my mom was in Atlanta, that's where my support was. He granted me permission to move to Atlanta, but he ended up quitting. And he never did my paperwork. Fast forward to me getting arrested in Atlanta for the same thing, just letting my anger get the best of me. Got arrested down there, and I found out I had a warrant in Philly. It was too far to extradite me, so I just came and turned myself in, not knowing that I would just be sitting in State Road again. But this time when I came to turn myself in, I was pregnant with my youngest daughter. And I sat in State Road for approximately a little bit over about 60 days. It was almost 3 months. So pregnant, not really having no real connection with anybody, talking to anybody, hormones raging on a block with a whole bunch of other pregnant women. And it was at that point I was like, oh, I could never do this again. Like I could never like do this again. Like the CEOs, they don't care that you're pregnant. They don't care that you're carrying another life, that there are certain things and needs that you have when you're pregnant. Like they don't care about none of that. Like you're still awarded this. So, I came home, did anger management, did some other things to try to flip the mode around. I recently came back to Philly last year, and I can definitely say it's definitely, I don't believe in 360. I'm gonna say it's been a 180. It's just been really a blessing. Like just this is my first time having a career job, connecting with organizations as far as me giving back and working with organizations that do reform work, and just understanding where I came from and wanting to help other people dealing with those same issues. So that's my journey. And it's been I'm not gonna say hard, it's definitely been challenging, but it's been rewarding as well.
Can you talk a little bit, because this episode is called From Trauma to Triumph, right? And you use the word grief and anger, right? In almost the same sentence. And usually, anger is a product of grief, right? Because we don't necessarily know how to process our grief or process our trauma. And
Right.
it comes out in anger because we don't know how else to express that feeling. So can you talk a little bit about the
And text me. I'm in a meeting, text me.
Can you talk a little bit about maybe some of the trauma that have maybe led to the anger? You mentioned, kind of moving around and kind of from place to place and things like that.
I think for me, it was just more so instability, just not really having the tools to be able to cope with my anger. I had a lot of resentment just, with my childhood and different things that, with me having my own kids were some might think were typical kid things, but you just never know how a person is gonna, respond to certain traumas and,
Right.
tribulations. So I was the oldest of 4 kids. So my mom, she was a single mom, and there was a lot of times that, I had to help her with a lot of things. So I think with me, I just felt like I was missing out on so much, like just feeling like I didn't have a childhood. So once I felt like I was grown, oh, I'm 18, let me go. Like I went. I definitely went. Yeah, I definitely went.
So let me stop you there for a second, because and I'm a mother of a teenage daughter who's 15, who is feeling those growing pains of not being a child and not being a grown up and really wanting to be a grown up, right? So what would you say to your young teenage self at the onset of you feeling like you wanted to do your own thing, even though you didn't necessarily have the tools of an adult to do your own thing?
Girl, you crazy. Like that's what that's what I would tell myself. And it's like my mom was saying it, my god mom, like my support was saying it, but it was like, I don't know what y'all talking about.
Like y'all don't know nothing.
Yeah,
Right.
like
Y'all
it's a
not
different
me.
time. Y'all old. Like, no, they weren't. Like they were giving me wisdom. Like they were trying to put me on early on where I didn't have to go through certain trials and waste time. But it really wasn't a time waster. It was an eye opener and a life experiences that I learned from.
Right.
But like if I had to tell my younger self, like just hold on and just be open to what's
Stay
coming
the
to you
course.
and understand
Yeah.
and learn. Yeah, like I feel like I was just such in a rush to prove to myself, like, oh, you still got time. Like you can still do this, you can do that. And it's like none of that stuff was even important for real, for real. Like
Right.
we
Right. That's
think as
true.
kids, like you see other kids able to do this, that, and the third, like none of that really matters. Like honestly, it doesn't.
Right. Right. Yeah. And we say this a lot that hindsight is 2020. But I mean, I guess, the development of the brain and all that kind of stuff, like it just, it's hard to get through to young people and you can show them better than you can tell them, or they can experience it better than you can try to, warn them about it. Because, as a, young mom myself, really definitely had that experience, had that strong desire.
And it's so
Like,
crazy because I'm sorry.
just to be independent and not really understanding what that independence,
Yeah.
the responsibility that went along with being independent,
And I
And
think
so,
sometimes, a lot of times,
you could,
it was it was breaking up at the same time. I'm sorry.
That's okay. You were going to say something?
I think I was. Oh no, I was just saying. I think sometimes like mothers and daughters, like it'll kind of always give that energy, but as long as there's like that good nurturing and the good energy, it'll go the right way. So that's all I
Right.
was going to say.
Well, that's hopeful. You're giving me hope for my 15-year-old daughter. So we go put that out there in the universe that, you know what I mean? What's in me that got me through is in her that will get her through. The same thing that was in you that got you through. Right.
Yeah. Well,
And so
I mean,
that's what
she
we can
won't.
hope and pray for our young girls.
Yeah.
So on the note of how incarceration impacts women, you have mentioned that the COs didn't care that you were pregnant, and then you actually said that there were other pregnant women on the pod. So is that was there a pod specifically for pregnant women?
Yes. hmm State Road. They used to house women at RCF at State Road. Now, I've been told they aren't housed there anymore. I haven't been incarcerated in Philadelphia since 2015. That was the last time I was housed in the city of Philadelphia, the state of Pennsylvania. So, but
Okay.
currently they don't house women there, but they used to, and there would be a whole block, all women that were pregnant. So you could just imagine, like, already being incarcerated, your hormones at an all-time high. We're all women. It was really crazy. Like, it definitely was scary. Like, not scary in a sense like I was
Mhm.
fearful, but like scary, like, what am I doing here? Like, come on now. Like,
Right.
this is crazy. Like, you gotta get it together.
Right. No, I understood. And so all the folks that are out there watching, please subscribe and like. Remember, you see at Lynn Locked and Loaded and Locked and Loaded Official for Jasimane's business. We're going to talk about that in a minute. But I will share, and I always share. I mean, I'm open about my experience with incarceration. I myself have never been incarcerated. My son was the first one to be incarcerated and introduced me not to this work, but we were kind of in the midst of doing this work when he caught his first case. And right now, my daughter is up on State Road, and she's been there since the middle of the summertime.
Okay.
So, that and there's also that go along with that with mental health issues and dependency issues. And
Sure.
you'd mentioned probation and probation being a detriment to one's success. And that literally was a technical, situation that happened for you. You know what I mean? You were supposed to have your probation transferred to Atlanta. They quit or never did the paperwork. And then here you are in like not knowing that you had
Yeah.
an arrest warrant for for technical violation, not showing up or whatever. Right. And you don't even know until you find yourself with police contact in another state that, you've got this warrant for you.
Yeah.
So how did that impact you outside of the incarceration? I mean, the trauma of incarceration. So also the trauma of being on probation and all that. Are you free and clear now? Are you no longer property of the state?
Yes, yeah, I'm off probation,
Amen.
but yes, thank you. It was really bad because they started my probation all the way over, actually.
Say that
So
again a little louder for the people in
they
the back.
started my probation all the way over. I was sentenced to 3 years probation, and I know some people might watch this like, "Oh, that's not nothing." That's something to me. I wasn't even 21 yet.
Right.
So I had already did 2 years. I had
And you're
already
like,
did
oh, I
2
got
years.
1 year to go. Let me get out of here.
And not only was I already on 2 years, I was on 2 years paying every month. Like, I'm
Oh, wow.
coming to get drug tested every month. So luckily the judge, he was really nice. He did let me transfer my probation to Atlanta because he seen that I was living there by that time. So, but I had already set for a whole summer in State Road. And when you're arrested on a violation of probation, there's no court date, there's no bail, there's nothing. There's a random wake up in the middle of the night, one random day that you don't know of, and they send you to court, and that's it. So for
Wow.
me, that's when I say that I was scared. For me, I was every day not knowing when I was going home, not
Right.
having no communication with a public defender. Like, I'm writing letters to judges, and they weren't even my judges. Like, I'm listening to other inmates. Like, people. Every inmate swears they're a lawyer when you go to jail. So
Right.
it's like,
Right.
okay, this happened to you. Okay, I'm going home tomorrow. Tomorrow come and they still don't go. Like,
Right. Right.
so
Right.
it was like, thank God I don't have to deal with that anymore. And when they transferred it to Atlanta, I started 3 years over again, but I was still on probation in Atlanta. And because it was two different states, they wouldn't coincide with each other. So I did 3 years for Philadelphia, and then I had another 3 years for Atlanta.
Wow. In addition to the two that you already served.
Yep.
Yo, that's crazy. That's crazy.
Yep. So I just got off
I'm so
probation.
sorry.
I just got off probation in the end of 2019, actually
Congratulations.
the beginning, right before COVID. I took my last anger management was one of my stipulations. So I took my last class January of 2020, and that's when my probation ended.
Right. Congratulations. I'm
Thank
so
you.
happy for you because you see, how people say 3 years, but that's 3 years. They don't understand that's no police contact, making sure that you check in every day, whatever your stipulations are, those fines and costs, those phone calls, if you're not there on time, like at
One little
any,
thing,
or your probation officer quits or leaves the
yeah,
job
one little
and you
thing
don't
can
know
push
who
you
the
your
new person
freedom.
is.
Right.
Right.
And it's so crazy because you could be innocent. Like, for me, I felt like I was doing the right thing, turning myself in, because I knew that I had no way of, like, they're sending court appearances to an address in Philadelphia that I don't even live at. Now, I could have been negligent and be like, well, my probation officer said this and the third. I could have went on a run, but it's just like, I didn't feel like, I just felt like I wanted to get it out the way. Like, I didn't want to have that holding over my head. Like, so,
Right. You're a
and
mother at this point,
yeah,
right? You're a mother.
and, and I was pregnant. So I definitely just wanted to get it out the way.
So
Um,
real quick, and then we'll move on to all the good stuff you've got going on now. So we just talked about you being pregnant and a mother being incarcerated. Where was your oldest child?
so at that time, my oldest child was in Philadelphia with her dad. And it was
Okay.
so crazy because I went to go turn myself in and nobody knew that I was in jail. Like, the sheriffs, I actually called in Atlanta before I came to turn myself in. They were like, yeah, just come down. We'll give you another court date. You come back to court.
Right. Yeah, it'll be all good.
I'm like, okay, that's real responsible. Like, I'll come. I drove, like, my uncle, he drove me all the way there. Like, he just told me, like, don't take nothing down there. I'm like, what? Why? I'm coming. Like, they just
I'm
giving me
coming
some
back.
paperwork. but my uncle, he just had served time in Fed, so he was like, no, like, don't take nothing. And
Yeah,
I don't
girl.
think he really wanted to tell me the extent because he didn't want to worry me. He was like,
Right.
don't take nothing. Like, I still took my purse down there,
Mhm.
my phone. I signed. Then they were like, okay, we're going to go get your probation officer. Came back. It was a CO with handcuffs. Like, I was
What?
right at, yeah, it was, I don't even think it was a CO. I think it was a sheriff or something. Actually, it
Right.
was a sheriff, but they put the handcuffs on me. And my next stop was State Road. And I
Mm.
probably had cried for like 3 days straight. Like, I don't
Sure.
even think I called anybody like for a week. And
Wow. Wow, that's rough. I mean, because you just, it's just being snatched. You
yeah,
know what I mean? That's literally what being snatched looks like. You
yeah,
thinking you're going somewhere else, and you're like, no, no, I'm supposed to be going out that door. And they're like,
yeah,
sis, you going in this door, and
yeah,
that door ain't the way out.
exactly.
That's just crazy. That's
Yeah.
crazy. So if anyone's on, you got questions for Jasimane or myself, or just comments, please drop them in the chat. Remember to like and subscribe to Purely Speculation, because this isn't gonna be the last that we see of Jasimane, because she's doing some awesome things. Talk to us a little bit about your business, because from trauma to triumph, let's talk about the triumph. Because
So
that's something we want to celebrate. It's nothing that
yeah,
is going to be small, no matter, it may sound small to you, but to the rest of us, it's like, wow, because we've heard where you started. And so now
right.
I want to see where you're at.
So I started my business through a transformative workshop through the Elevation Project. So the Elevation Project also does reform work as well. I came in collaboration with them. They were at actually the Reform Alliance was having a job fair. Like I think it was June or July,
Shout
and
out to
they were
Reform, one of our sponsors.
yeah, and I was looking for another job because I work at a school. So the summertime just it's no hours for real. And
Mhm.
I went and I actually went with a friend. We kind of it was at the Wells Fargo Center, so we kind of split um the businesses in half. I took half the room, he took other half room, and I went to their we signed up for their classes and I went and the first that was their first class they were having. So um man, that class it gave me so much hope because it was just like these people didn't know us from a can of paint and they just pushed us and made us believe in ourselves more than anything. Like week after week. So we met Tuesdays and Thursdays for an hour for 10 weeks. Built a business, we built a website, we built our social media presence, we built a product. Like you couldn't finish the class without having a product to sell. Um,
Nice.
and then once we were done, we had a ceremony, basically like a graduation. It was set up like Shark Tank where we presented our business and presented our product. Um, and the Elevation Project, they actually paid for our LLC. We had fundraisers to raise costs for our startup costs for our business. The Elevation Project, they also helped us and assisted us with costs as well. Shout out to Elevation Project. Like they have really been like a blessing in my life as far as just elevating. Like, but
So
yeah,
what's the
so
name of the business? What's the name of your business? Because I think you have more than one. Yes.
yeah, I do a little something. I do a little.
See, I
So
said
the
ain't,
business
ain't
I'm
nothing,
doing,
ain't nothing little, ain't nothing little. You doing it
um,
big.
so my main business right now is Locked and Loaded. That's my hair care club. So I do offer natural hair services. That's locks, braids, presses, curls, anything that has to do with natural hair. I know how to do sew-ins and stuff like that. Like, it's per request. I just don't advertise that because I'm sticking to the natural. But I also have products as well. So I make my own growth hair oil. I recently created my own rock butter, a beard balm, and then I have hair mist as well. And my business is really set up as a club where you can buy a membership. You can buy a yearly membership for $9.95, and you get your hair done twice a month. You don't have to worry about paying. You already paid. Hopefully it takes time because it's coming up.
Yo, that's dope. I've never heard of that, and I got a daughter that like needs that.
Yeah.
I need that.
Or you can do the monthly subscription, cancel at any time. I would suggest the yearly because it's out the way. Like, you do the yearly subscription, it comes with monthly. Yes, it's affordable. Like, that was my whole point in doing it, because I already charge $100 per session. So if you don't get the membership and you can still do it individually without the membership, but you saving $205. Like, who wouldn't want to save money?
Right. Yes. So, I like that. See that? All right, Elevation Project with the new memberships. Yes. Oh, I like that. I like that. And so we're going to take a quick commercial break, and I'm going to kind of just describe what we're about to see. I think, are you familiar with Reverend Michelle Simmons from Why Not Prosper? Do you know her?
Yes.
Okay. So we're going to, yes. So she is phenomenal woman, phenomenal journey as well. Been in the game much longer than you or I put together. And she has an initiative. So she's got transitional housing. She's got workshops similar to the Elevation Project. She's got books that she has out, and her new endeavor. And she just opened up a 12-unit apartment building in Harrisburg. But now she's bringing it back to Philadelphia and asking 1 million women to give $1 to create a talking park called Prosper Park in Philadelphia. So we're about to see a little clip about Prosper Park and see how we can support and bring that to fruition. And hopefully you as a business person, businesswoman, me as a businesswoman, will lay some bricks in that park, with our names of our business on there and fist up and shout out. So we're about to see Reverend Michelle and her clip on Prosper Park.
Okay.
Why Not Prosper has helped more than 1,000 formerly incarcerated women re-enter society as productive members of their community. Now they are calling on 1 million women worldwide to help them memorialize this achievement. Join them as they build Prosper Park.
There are many parks in Philadelphia named after Black Americans. However, there has never been a park created by formerly incarcerated women.
Welcome to Prosper Park. Prosper Park is a talking park. Hear amazing stories of recovery and resilience. My name is Reverend Michelle Simmons. I'm a formerly incarcerated person, and I am now doing things big. There'll be guided meditations.
In one slow, steady breath, as you inhale, you're going to
healing music. And you can take a ride on a bike after you finish the visit. We're turning 1 million women into philanthropists by giving just $1. That's 1 million women giving just $1 to build a permanent legacy to hundreds of formerly incarcerated women and women who have come through the doors of Why Not Prosper. Give today.
All right, so we're going to get our dollars together and challenge 1 million women to contribute one, if not more, to the vision of Prosper Park, so that we all can be there for the ribbon cutting ceremony. And so we have a segment in our show, and I'm gonna drop the F-bomb, y'all. You heed the warning that's at the beginning of the show, called What the Fuck. And this is a segment, and it's a segment that can be sponsored. So anybody that's out there watching want to be bold and sponsor the What the Fuck moment, you can do that. But this is a segment where we get to express either exasperation, like, oh my God, like this is crazy, or, like something terrible has happened, or, oh my God, this is crazy. I can't believe this is actually happening to me. And so I'm going to start with my what the fuck moment. And it's most recent because we kind of talked about it a little bit. And since this is the impact of incarceration on women, it's only right to bring our girl Brittany Griner into the conversation. I'm so this her incarceration impacted me so deeply, like this was my mama. You know what I mean? I felt such pain for her that that they did this to her. We understand that you're breaking laws in other countries and this and that, but the situation was, it was a setup. You know what I mean? And to put a Black queer woman in a Russian prison on charges of drug smuggling and all these crazy things, but at the end of the day to sentence her to 9 years, not 9 years in the United States prison, 9 years in a Russian prison. So it's like you're in another country. We worry about people forgetting, because they forget people here in the States all the time, right? Like you said, people forget about you. They don't know you're here. You don't know somebody's going to tap you on the shoulder, tell you pack your shit, it's time to go.
Right.
And it's like, imagine being in a foreign country. You don't understand the language. The people are crazy. It's cold. She had to cut her locks off because they were freezing. And it's like, what the fuck? I can't say nothing else. Like it was just so crazy to me. And so when last week, was it? I don't even know. It was earlier this week. Last week, I saw it on the news. I literally screamed. I was like, oh my God. Like when I saw come across the thing that Brittany Griner was released, because I'll be honest, I did not expect her to be released shorter than 9 years.
No, I didn't either.
Really did not, especially considering the racial climate here in the States. And, everybody's saying, oh, we're happy that she's home, but then you're really not happy that she's home. You wanted that white Marine to be home, not the Black queer female basketball player. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so it's like, you have to understand that there's other dynamics at play. And the president told you, don't take your ass to Russia. Will do it again. Take your ass to Russia if you want to. You know what I mean? Heed the warnings, heed the codes, you know what I mean, and the laws, but you ain't got no business being in Russia. She had business to be in Russia. I ain't got no business being in Russia, so I'm not going to Russia. So that was like my major, like on both ends, like what the fuck? Like they really did this to her, and like, wow, what the fuck? Biden, all right, you brought her home, my dude. And so that was really both sides of that WTF moment. And so that was really powerful for me. And I still, get emotional about it, but I think like, wow, like, whew, that's a huge sigh of relief. And a huge sigh of relief when you're finally going home and you finally, get back to be with your people and your loved ones and your family and your children. You know what I mean? She has children. She has a wife. She's got family. And not to say that, the Marine doesn't have that either, but, we're talking about the person that we brought home and the sigh of relief. I pray that they have the sigh of relief for when they bring him home as well. So share with me your WTF moment.
Okay. So we had kind of discussed one earlier, but I'm going to change it. So
yeah, go for whatever you want to do.
I was scrolling down my timeline on Instagram because that's just one of my favorite things to do. And I had seen an elementary school on lockdown. And it's just becoming more and more frequent in the city. A parent brought a gun to the school, whatever the situation was. But then I see another school on lockdown and there's like hella fights outside. There's parents with guns at the let out. And I'm just like, what the fuck? Like
this is in Philadelphia?
This is in Philadelphia, yes. And to me, it's just like I feel like when I was in high school in Philly, like we had fights with other schools, like kids, like you're gonna fight, like that's just a teenage thing to do. But why are you bringing a gun to your child's school?
Right.
Like,
Pick your child up.
why are you firing a gun in a crowd of kids? Like, where does any sense start at? Because it can't start at the kids if these are the parents. Like, I was just really taken aback because, like I told you, I work at a school and we've been on lockdown numerous times because of the school that I worked at is K-8, but it's right next to Lincoln. So anytime there's an issue at Lincoln, they put us on lockdown. So it's just like, and it's not just like for fights, it's kids bringing guns, parents bringing guns. Like, that's too far. And
Right.
I just feel like what situation between a child has to get to that level where there's guns and artillery needs, like, there's a war. That's a war. Like, at that point, that's a war.
Yeah.
Like, we
Yeah.
using guns and Glocks with switches. Like, that's a war. Like,
Wow.
so
And it's
we
all
coming out of
uniform.
let out. We don't know if it's a marching band or a drill session. Like, it's real crazy. So yeah, I'm just like, what the fuck, Philly? Like, what's really going on? Where's the protest at the school district buildings? Like, where is the protest at City Hall? Like, for parents who actually don't have no other option for their kids to go to nowhere else but Philly schools, like, and actually want their child to be safe. Like, where's the outcry? Like, it's really crazy and it's really sad.
Right.
And at this point, it's just like, what can you do? Like, I always like ask my peers, my coworkers, my family, like, what can be done? Like, I'm really tired of just talking about stuff. Like, I'm passionate about like getting in the field and really just trying to make a change and make things better. But it's like, what can you do without putting yourself in harm's way as well? Like, is that a question? I think a question.
I think that was a comment. Oh, I haven't been clicking over into my comments. It says that just shows how deeply embedded survival mentality is rooted within our communities.
Yes. And it's so desensitized.
Yes. I'm just talking about you, boo boo. Yes. Yeah. And that so the work that we do, and we're gonna get ready to get out of here. The work that we do with reform work, right? Because it's community organizing. Also, it also can go into the school districts, those school systems, our healthcare systems, our mental health systems, like all those systems that people that they're experts in, and then we're the ones that are consumers of their expert opinion, that we have to start banding together. Just like we share our collective knowledge about the criminal legal system, we have to start sharing. You're an educator, so I don't have, a child, so to speak, in that school, but it's like we need those parents to start speaking out and start sharing their stories. Like, I can help you organize. I can't lead it because I don't have a child in that school, right?
Right.
And so that could be a whole nother show. And for all of our educators out there, the teachers, because it just happened here in Norristown last week. We just literally had a riot.
I seen, and I was just so confused because my cousin lived in Norristown. I could have sworn people moved to the counties to get away from Philly.
To get away from that.
Yeah.
And I'll call out the school district and I'm gonna call out the school board. Like, there's no discipline. And I'm not saying that discipline needs to be in the form of having police in our schools. Discipline meaning that obviously if kids are they fight in that school every day.
Yeah.
Every day there's a fight. That's a problem. That's a sign of something else. But that school district, there are 3 towns that feed that school district: Norristown, East Norton, and West Norton. 70% of that school is from Norristown, which means probably 60% are Black kids, Black and brown, Hispanic. And then we have the other 2 that are predominantly white that are clashing about not wanting to have. They're not funding the sports programs. They're not funding the music programs. They're not anything that our Black and brown kids would gravitate to for safety and for belonging to something and having something to do other than go home and not have anything to do at home. The things that our kids, the outlets that our kids have to keep them safe and give them alternatives to bad behavior or boredom, they do not support. And the fact that our school board and the teachers, 13% of the district are people of color. Most of them are not teachers. You know what I mean? So we don't have representation in the classroom, in leadership, in anywhere. And so they're not looking at that. So I'm calling them out. I'm calling out all the educators. It's like, this is a problem. And again, I don't have a child in this school district. You know what I mean? I have friends that do. And I'm like, look, we got platforms. We can do this. Like, let's organize, but I can't lead it. I need those parents to lead it and follow through, not just for today, not for next week or 2 weeks down the road. Like, they need to stay committed to seeing this change. And so, Jasimane, I thank you so much for your time and spending on a dime. That's how we do as Black women, as mothers. You're like, oh, I need to turn left. All right, let's get it. And so I really, really appreciate you coming through in the clutch. And we'll have Reverend Michelle on, sometime in the future when she's not traveling the world. And, and if it's an education, the thing, we'll bring you on. If it's an entrepreneur thing about getting that hair, and trust me, I'm gonna follow up. I'm gonna get that
yes, please
membership. I'm getting that.
Okay,
and I just really, really appreciate you. I appreciate all the folks that come through and support the show. Please remember to like and subscribe and share. This is recorded. It will be in our archives on our YouTube channel, and look for you to have some clips in the future. So we're going to have some clips of this and be able to share on your social media, especially with your business, and hopefully it'll draw some traffic to your site and get you some business so that you can be jet setting like Reverend Michelle.
Thank you. I greatly
appreciate it. All right, next Tuesday, or not next Tuesday, and Tuesday, the fourth Tuesday, we'll have our Court Watch edition. So we will be highlighting what is going on in the courthouse. We're going to be documenting something that's going on this week right now. So stay tuned. We might have some, breaking news kind of thing that folks might find interesting and be able to build around. So with that, peace out. Free her all day. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Purely Speculation. If you learned something, share something. Please like, follow, and share this show. The more our communities know, the more they are empowered, and the faster we can create change. Purely Speculation would not be made possible without the generous support of the Community Justice Exchange, the Health Sparks Frank E. Boston Black Justice Fund, Philadelphia Foundation, and Reform Alliance. Thank you. Booyah!
Intuition different, already lived and dreamt it. Visions make my vision clear as I'm jogging through this fog of life.